Okay. Feels good to be back on another episode of the Inner Circle podcast. There's just so much to discuss tonight, man. I don't even want to do a pre-show and
Eh,
nothing like that. So I'm like really excited for everything that's popped off over the week. There's just too much going on through my head between both Xbox and PlayStation. Especially with the release of new consoles. Shout out to Post Up. Hopefully he'll be in here soon and we can get the party like fully going. And my man Cam's got to dip out a little bit early, so we definitely gonna try to hit the big points as soon as possible, and make sure you guys are enjoying tonight's show and then catching up on all the topics and things like that. So, here we go. Welcome to
that
the Inner Circle podcast, premier podcast for Xbox. I'm your host, OX3KL, with my man Cam Hambone,
What's going on, everybody?
my boy Karaba,
sup, and that was a dope intro.
and
I-
shout out to my boy Post Up whenever he comes through. So listen, man, I don't even know what to say. Microsoft came through with a Megaton or atom bomb. Completely caught me off guard. I've been moving this whole week very slowly out of my old house into my new house. So for me, there's a lot of things that's misplaced right now. And I just happened to, I think, literally just hooked my computer up today. Bethesda came out with the news, and I'm in a chat. Tick has a private chat on Twitter, and Karaba drops this link in the in the DM, and I'm sitting up there and I'm like what? Like what is like this can't be real. Like this got to be some type of rumor or joke or something like that. This is the first time I'm seeing this, and as I'm reading it and I'm going through all of the Twitter feeds, I mean, when I tell you my face lit up like a kid on Christmas, I was so excited for the potential of Microsoft and Bethesda working together. I don't know how many times I have to reiterate this. I love RPGs. This is my favorite genre. My two favorite genres of games is RPGs and stealth action. You combine those two, it's a masterful game. You know what I'm saying? Metal Gear Solid to me, it's not an RPG, but it has a lot of stealth action. Splinter Cell stealth action. Deus Ex RPG and stealth action. So it's like one of those things where it's to me, that's a perfect game. But then you also have other RPGs where, like Skyrim, I had a rogue build where I also had a bow and arrow, and I would sneak attack and back shots and all that with the arrow was like insane. I would one shot people. It was like incredible. So just thinking about the potential of Microsoft working with Bethesda and those IPs, or Obsidian and Exile and Bethesda working together as like a group on something would be absolutely insane. There's literally bringing that original team back together from all those years ago. And they could share ideas, they could share information if they want to make new IPs. I mean, the book is just open. I think the biggest thing that surprised me was that it wasn't that Microsoft bought Bethesda, they bought ZeniMax, the parent company. So not only do you get Bethesda, you get ID, Arcane, Machine Games, Tango. Like you get all these other games, all these other studios with it that are making all these other games. And to me, it's mind-boggling, absolutely mind-boggling. And with Microsoft's money, I truly believe, and obviously they can nurture these studios properly, like they've been nurturing the ones that they have now. They can truly make some really special games. It's not like these studios aren't talented. I think the biggest issue that Bethesda has had over the years is that they put out some quality titles, but they haven't sold like people expect. Like you can have a really great game, but for some apparent reason, it just doesn't sell. Like Sunset Overdrive was a great game, but it didn't sell well. You know what I'm saying? Like there's just games out there that do really well, ratings wise, like critically, but then they just don't sell. And that's what's happened recently with Bethesda. Like Dishonored franchise, really phenomenal franchise. Love Dishonored franchise. Both 1 and 2 were great. You have the Wolfenstein franchise, which is a phenomenal franchise in itself. It graphically one of the better and most impressive games out there. When you're playing it, it just looks really impressive. And then you have, other games like The Evil Within and Prey and, just other franchises like that. And then those games, for some apparent reason, just don't hit the market like a Fallout 4 or Skyrim, which gets, millions and millions of sales. So it's kind of disappointing for Bethesda to put out all these games from these studios, and then they're not really taking off the way they expect them to. And I think that has some sort of impact on Bethesda as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because I think it's had an impact on them as a whole. They're trying to figure out, just like every other studio Microsoft has picked up, how do they continue to sustain themselves without maybe firing a team, dropping a studio, selling a studio, just trying to stay afloat, man. Obviously, Elder Scrolls Online continues to do extremely well. Fallout 76 didn't do well, but I heard that it picked up some nice steam and some improvements thanks to Game Pass.
It's coming back.
Yeah. So there's little things there where there's potential, but these guys are working on new IPs with Starfield. You obviously have Elder Scrolls 6 in the works. I think both these games are anywhere between 3 to 6 years out. So it's just one of those things where it's like, how do you maintain and sustain your company while trying to build these two big epic franchises without losing the other studios that you have? And honestly, I guess Microsoft and them have been talking for a very long time. These guys have great relationships with each other. They've known each other for decades. And if you've seen the interview with Major Nelson and Pete Hines and Todd and Phil, then you would have seen that basically they said that they trust each other. And to me, that's very surprising because I know a lot of people who don't trust Microsoft. There's a lot of studios out there that or even back in the day just didn't trust Microsoft. Microsoft didn't have that level of trust. And when you have a major company like Bethesda and people like that tell you that they trust you and they have the same they on the same page, the same direction, the same growth pattern, and they want to work together in that scope, that's really special. And I think they got something special. So Microsoft worked out a deal with the big head honchos over at Bethesda. The people at Bethesda working there didn't even know. They found out the same day as the rest of us, which I'm pretty sure that's pretty shocking. But at the same time, when you're a worker, I guess you don't need to know. You know what I'm saying? It's a privately held company, and it's up to the owners of that company to make certain decisions, and then that news will trickle down. And I guess that's exactly what happened. So I'm sure there were some concerns about what they're going to be doing and what Microsoft's going to be doing and how that's going to impact them. But I think under Phil's leadership, under the direction that Matt Booty has these studios going, based on what we've been seeing from first party as of late, I think that Bethesda's in great hands right now. And they are going to pump out some stuff that's really going to put Microsoft back to the forefront of gaming. And I'm really excited about it. I'm so hype about this, man. I don't even know how to tell you how excited I am to see what Microsoft's studios and games are going to look like in the next 5 to 10 years. I can't even think straight. I mean, talk about a Western RPG powerhouse Microsoft has become. Very excited for this, man. Very excited for this. What do you think, Cam?
Back to their roots, right?
Absolutely.
With everyone knows the big game on the original Xbox was Halo. What was the next set of big games after that? Knights of the Old Republic and Morrowind. RPGs. Who made Morrowind? Bethesda Game Studio, obviously. Now they have Arcane as well, and I think Arcane's first game that they made as a studio was Arx Fatalis, which was all designed for the original Xbox, like similar to Invisible War, Deus Ex Invisible War was. Like, they just went and they made a move that got them all of the cornerstones that built the brand. They got RPGs back now, they got immersive sims back now, and they got first-person shooters back. A lot of these franchises are like directly related. I'm sure both of you have heard like people say like I like to play Final Fantasy or Grand Theft Auto on PlayStation because they're connected to that system. Those franchises are connected to that system to me.
Right.
You've both heard that before, right?
Mhm.
That's probably how a lot of people feel about Elder Scrolls and Wolfenstein and Doom, is because Doom 3 couldn't run on a PlayStation 2.
It ran on Xbox. Yeah,
it ran on Xbox.
Yep.
Morrowind couldn't run on a PlayStation 2. It ran on Xbox, so they were there. And those are games that, you know, like a lot of people bought the Xbox and they bought Halo and Fusion Frenzy, and then they went, now what? And then these games started coming out and they were critically acclaimed and people went out and grabbed those. So they became, you know, what did PlayStation have in the beginning? They had like Wipeout and Crash Bandicoot and games like that. And those studios and franchises are now part of that. Microsoft made such a big play with this purchase. They went out and retroactively, I've talked about it 100 times maybe on this show, that they let that history slip away from them. They got it back on Monday morning. They got that history back. Back in the fold to be like, we know you guys care about Doom and Wolfenstein and Elder Scrolls, and, you know, even to an extent Fallout 3, that was on their stage that year at E3. You know, it's sort of connected. And like, you don't want to play Fallout 3 on a PS3 in 2008. Like, you don't want to do that. Like, that's just not a thing you should have done. And if you did, you probably had not that great of a time. But it's amazing to me, and the implications of it beyond the things that I'm sure, you know, everyone has read and heard and everything over the last couple of days of like, there's no argument anymore for no games. That's a fact. They have all these studios, you know, like maybe not right now, but they're coming. They're eventually the value of Game Pass is going to be undeniable, and people are going to have to say, yep, that's good. That's a good deal for anybody who pays that $10, $15 a month. Beyond the argument of, you know, like of all the other things that have come up about this. Remember, Bethesda was working on, what was that tech called? It was like Orion. And
Orion, yeah, the cloud
the thing that they were working on that was supposed to be about like predictive, like read, like I don't know exactly about this kind of stuff, but it was supposed to help improve decision making for cloud-based services when playing games on them. That's perfect for xCloud, right?
Right.
They now have a piece of technology to roll into something that has just recently launched, and they're pushing to people as a part of Game Pass, and something that they're trying to like really make a big cornerstone of the ecosystem. And also another thing that I'm not sure I've seen talked about in a lot of places, Bethesda has a really good like mobile gaming division. Now, you know, mobile games, whatever, we, you know, hardcore gamers don't play mobile games, but Blades and Fallout Shelter, they did pretty good, and they maintained like a decent player base to where those games still get small updates and big, like, you know, like events and things like that. So what does, and one of those studios, they is Alpha Dog Studios. That's a studio that you could go either way. They could start making, you know, console games, PC games, or they could continue to make mobile games. You know, maybe they start to port some smaller games directly to phones for people who don't want xCloud. Maybe you see like a Clash of Clans Halo style game. You know, they tried with things like what was that? Not Gears Tactics. Gears Pop. Right. They in Minecraft Earth, like they have things like that. So this is only going to bolster that market as well. It's just such a crazy I couldn't believe it for the first like 6 hours that was real. That's something that you joke about with your friends, right? Like they're going to buy them, and everyone goes, "Dude, shut up! You don't know what you're talking about." And it happened now. What I really want to see though is like just the crazy stuff that's going to happen. Like, you know how Forza Horizon 4 has that like Lego DLC, right?
Right.
What if you get in Forza Horizon 5, you get a Bethesda Land DLC, and there's 3 regions, and one is Hell from Doom. There's another one that's Skyrim from Elder Scrolls, and one that's the Capital Wasteland. That's the kind of stuff I want to see.
Like, what if you could play as Slayer in Halo? Or maybe you can have
absolutely
in Doom. You know what I'm saying?
Make a new Fusion Frenzy And it's just like, instead of just having the generic like characters that you would put in a Fusion Frenzy 3, make it Doomslayer and Corvo Atano and Master Chief and
I mean, at
Marcus
this point,
Phoenix and
Microsoft
Joanna Dark.
have their own Smash Bros.
Absolutely,
They
yeah.
have enough characters.
Now
this
they had close to enough before. Now they have enough for 2 Smash Brothers clones, right? Like,
Yeah, like you could play Corvo and teleport everywhere. Master Chief, Marcus, Arbiter. You got
like
player guy. You can put in one of the demons from
BJ Blazkowicz and
oh my god, bro! Like the potential.
the safe head from Evil Within. Like
yeah.
That's another point. Phil got
Yeah.
his Japanese studio. I know he probably wants another one or more. But
Right.
he got that Japanese studio with Tango. He has his foot in the door. And with the Tokyo Game Show stuff, I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like their biggest market growing wise is Japan. You know, the pre-orders are opening up and they're probably going to be pretty okay. I don't want to speculate entirely, but like he's in there. He takes trips there all the time. He's in there now.
Yeah, without question. I was completely flabbergasted. I mean, the whole day, I just spent my whole day. I got yelled at all day because I spent my whole day on my phone reading comments, and looking at people's reactions to Microsoft picking up Bethesda. And the funny thing about it is that, listen, I'm a guy that badgers Microsoft to create and open up new studios and make new IPs and sort of not put the 3 big flagships on the back burner, but give them a rest. You know what I'm saying? I think one of the things that irritates me is like, to me, the Ubisoft model, and that you just constantly make Assassin's Creeds, and after a while you get burnt out. It doesn't have the same appeal that it had when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why with me, like with Ubisoft, I treat Ubisoft like I treat Maddens. Like I got to get one every other year.
Yeah, wait till it's on sale.
Right, like I can't get an Assassin's Creed back to back. I have to get one and then skip a year or two to get the next one, like two games later.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, with Halo and Gears, like those games, they, between the decades, between the generations, there hasn't been many mainstream when you think about it, because you got to think Halo came out on the OG Xbox. That's almost 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that was 20 years ago, pretty much. And they've only got 5 games, but there's been a ton of games in between that. There's 5 mainline games, but there's been a ton of Halo stuff in between that. And same thing with Gears of War. They're on the 5th Gears of War, but there's been like a lot of stuff in between that, Judgment and remasters,
and Pop and all that stuff.
Yeah, after a while, when you're constantly getting a flow of only those games and you're not seeing other IPs pop out of first party, you kind of like, man, this is like, it's getting kind of boring a little bit. So now that you see them sort of working out this generation, and to me, this generation started out well. It started out fresh, Sunset Overdrive, Rise, Quantum Break, obviously the Forza Horizon series, Ori and the Blind Forest, Killer Instinct. Then they had some really nice smaller indie game exclusives that they had and things like that. Decent third-party stuff here and there. And then of course we were lined up to get some nice things with like Fable Legends and Scalebound, but obviously those got canceled.
Yeah.
And from there, everything went downhill. And it's been a waiting game ever since. So obviously, if you're a gamer, you're going to get frustrated if your main platform isn't producing content in a way where you see the consistency, and you're seeing the competition get consistency. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things where it becomes a bit frustrating. But some people stick it out for a number of reasons, maybe not just first party, third party games. Obviously they came out with the series, the Xbox One X, and that really gave them a nice little boost to keep going. But as we get to the end of the generation, and we're starting to see what Microsoft is doing this generation, after taking that time, taking those 3 years to really kind of just fix themselves, and that's how I feel. It took them 3 years to fix themselves from 2017 to 2020. It took them that long to rebuild a foundation, rebuild a plan, purchase studios, get those studios running, and now put themselves in a position with new hardware and a new direction going into the next generation. And honestly, I really feel like they have put themselves in a position to truly compete this generation. And I said this last week on last week's episode, and I'm going to say it again. I really feel that Microsoft potentially could take back the US.
I think it would be hard, but I think it's possible because you were saying they took this time to get better. The Xbox One generation for Xbox as a brand was a lot like the PS3 generation for PlayStation as a brand, where they had a bad start and everyone was like, there's no games. And even going into the end of that life, there were games. Like, people liked the Uncharted series, people liked God of War 3 and Last of Us, but like, that's a lot like the Xbox generation this time, where it's like, yeah, the Forza Horizon games were good and Gears 5, and there's the Master Chief Collection that works now. Like, they mirror each other really well, and look how Sony was able to bounce back with one of the best selling set-top home consoles of all time.
Right.
So I think there's something to that, and plus there's so many ways to reach people with their, like, there's so many ways to just get your games into the hands of players with Xbox now. Like,
right,
you can play Xbox games on an Android phone or a PC, or sometimes even a Switch or a PS4. Like, they're not super worried about that. I'm sure that's something we'll talk about with where these games will go now that they have Bethesda. But
and that's my point. It doesn't have to be console sales. It just has to be in a position where Microsoft's both attach rate and monthly active users are substantial enough, and including their subscribers to Game Pass, where those three things sort of add up like in a trifecta. You know what I'm saying? It kind of puts them in a position, because again, they're no longer reliant on console sales the way PlayStation is at this point. Game Pass has 15 million subscribers, and that's growing. And with the purchase of Bethesda, that's if they keep these games exclusive, which is another key factor, and I believe they will, then that's going to continue to boost your subscriber base even more. Yeah, and I truly think that it's going to put them in a position that most people won't expect. Because you have like I said, you have the most powerful console. Like, Microsoft has put themselves in a position where they can't lose, and this is why I'm saying I feel like they could take back the US right now, with Microsoft Xbox One being in the position that it's in, where PlayStation has 100 million console sales and Xbox has 50 million. It's double. In the US, half of those sales belong to the US. Like 25 million Xbox sales belong to the US. The other 25 million is around the world. Literally 27 million belong to the US for PlayStation, which means 70 something million or more, 70 something plus belongs around the world. That's how big PlayStation is worldwide. And I understand that. There's no doubt in my mind that Sony is a more popular brand globally. That is something that Microsoft has to work on. I mean, this PlayStation sold in regions that Xbox doesn't even exist in.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, Xbox is like non-existent in Asia for the most part. Like, they release consoles there, but the amount of consoles sold there weekly compared to Nintendo and PlayStation is so negligible.
Right. I mean, like this, I think in South, I don't know if it's South Africa or India, like there's no Xboxes sold there at all.
Yeah.
Only PlayStation. So it's like there's little pockets where, around the world where PlayStation sold an Xbox, you can't even buy an Xbox, so you have no choice but to get a PlayStation. And I think that's one of the reasons why Microsoft has taken this position of doing the whole Game Pass, xCloud type thing, which allows you to access their content via PC, because PCs are everywhere. You might not be able to get their console, but I'm pretty sure you got a PC and you can play those games on Game Pass via PC. So it gives them the access that they probably wouldn't have via console. So, when it comes to the US, you put yourselves in a position where you have the most affordable console on the market at $299, right?
Yep.
So for anybody who wants to just get into next generation gaming, they can pick up this $299 console and be in next generation gaming. You know, if you are a hardcore gamer like some of us, you're gonna go out and pick up the $499 Xbox or $499 PlayStation or $399 PlayStation, whatever it is. You putting yourself in a position where you're getting a premium type console at a higher price. But there's a lot of casuals that pick up lower priced models, especially parents for their kids. So a $299 Xbox is very enticing. You know what I'm saying? And then you're adding Game Pass, especially if the price of games going up to $70 a pop. Game Pass is giving you, you know, remarkable value in Xbox Live Online, Game Pass for Xbox, Game Pass Ultimate for PC. You know, you get games with gold and all that stuff like that, all in one package for $14.99 a month or whatever. And then you get over 300 plus games. You get first party titles at launch. You're getting EA games. You're getting sports titles now, and Star Wars games, and in Battlefield games and all that stuff like that, including into that with the Vault by the end of the year. And then you have Bethesda joining the party with their MMOs and Fallouts and all the other games that's coming from the other studios. That's amazing value for $15 a month. Mm-hmm. And that is something that is very difficult to pass up if you're a parent with children. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm looking at it from the perspective, I'm like, man, you got all of these things going for you. You have entry ways to get in, and you have multiple ways to access these things through Game Pass, whether it's PC, whether it's mobile, whether it's, they just really put themselves in a position compared to this generation to be absorbed by anyone, no matter where you are. You can be a PlayStation guy and see something on, like Fable came out. You want to play Fable? You don't even have to have an Xbox. You got a PC, play it on PC. You know what I'm saying? Play it on your phone. Whatever it is, they just want you in that ecosystem, whether you're a subscriber, whether you purchasing the game via Windows or Steam, whatever it is, they just want you in that ecosystem. And I think Microsoft have put themselves in a position to really, really be a dominant force going forward. And the final thing, which me and you actually talked about on Twitter, was that this harks back to when Microsoft said, and no disrespect to Sony, they didn't see Sony and Nintendo as competition.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, it's like, it's not to say that Sony isn't competition in the realm of gaming, because obviously they are. But when you have powerhouses like Google, Amazon, and Apple, who can do exactly what Microsoft has done, you really have to put your attention on that, because these three guys can do exactly what Microsoft's done and start gobbling up publishers.
And that's why they went after them. And there's nobody that I've listened to on any podcast or on any YouTube video that knows what they're talking about. Nobody has said anything like they went out and got them before Sony, because Sony is not in the market to buy a $7.5 billion company. Mm-hmm. You know who is, though? Apple, Amazon, and Google. And Google has a relationship with Bethesda and id, because Doom Eternal was a launch title on Stadia, which that's perfect, because id and Bethesda now know more about game streaming that they can bring to xCloud, right? Mm-hmm. But they went out and got Bethesda away from Amazon, who coincidentally this morning launched their own game streaming service, right? Like that's not like on an accident. Just like buying a $7.5 billion publisher that releases games that sell 30 million copies isn't an accident. Doing that the day before the pre-orders for your next gen consoles open up,
right?
But to take the opportunity away from Amazon to have Bethesda games exclusive, and now to tell them, okay, you have to go and have your troubles. We did it into the 2000s with all of our first party studios. We shipped stuff that got 70s and 60s and 50s, and we we're just learning how to deal with video game studios. You have to do that too. That makes Luna harder to sell, and that's why Luna is $5.99. right? If you have Bethesda in there, of course you're gonna charge $9.99 or $14.99. But because Microsoft poached that away from you, I'm sure. Okay, it's $5.99.
Right.
Whatever. Which I gotta say, isn't that weird that Luna's allowed to be on the Apple store, but Game Pass and Stadia aren't?
They figured out a way to work that out. Amazon.
That's weird as hell to me.
They found some way to work that. I heard they worked it out via like what is it? I think they are doing it through like a web browser.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Huh.
Some type of web browser. They're doing it. They some slick way. Apple will figure it out though. They'll figure it out eventually. Before we got off this topic, man, I just want to ask Karaba, because I know Karaba hasn't had a say this. What is your thoughts on this, man? You think this is a move that Sony should be concerned about, or do you think that it just puts Microsoft in a better position going in the next generation?
Okay, first of all, I have a few mindsets of it. The first one is apparently it could be a rumor, it could be legit, that before Microsoft bought them, Bethesda games were not doing well at all. Like, when you think about it, they almost killed their Fallout franchise. They've been milking Skyrim to death, and
Yeah.
Blue Blood was one of the worst.
Youngbloods?
Youngblood, my bad.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
job. Good job. Youngblood is one of the worst game out there for Bethesda. On the other hand, you have games like Dishonored, which always stays under the radar. Like, Dishonored is not a bad game, but it always stays under the radar. And Doom, it's also a great game, but um, so to me, I found I don't care about Bethesda because I don't play their game since I'm not into Skyrim. But I understand the move. I understand it,
Mhm.
but this is just a sense of my opinion how I view it. Um, the only good thing that I think that I saw from this purchase is one. They now have a Japanese studio. They
Nintendo. Yeah.
from the creator of the original creator of Vanquish and Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
They really need to capitalize on that and do something with it.
Right.
Like, I don't know which IPs they can revive, but they should revive a certain IP. Like, if let them make. I don't know who owns the IP for Vanquish. I think Platinum Games does, right?
Sega?
Yeah, I think
Sega, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so then they just need to think of their own IPs and have give it a Japanese spin, something like that. Just let them work. Heck, let them create a new JRPG for from that studio. Could
Well, if
work.
Tango wants to make a JRPG, but they usually just make horror games,
I
right?
don't know if they'll make
Yeah.
an RPG, but whatever they make, Microsoft should be grateful that they got it. I know that much.
Yeah. The thing is, this, and I can't stress this enough. Microsoft have now the opportunity to make cross games. And what I mean by that, imagine if Doom and Halo became a thing.
Yeah.
Like, they have the capability now to do so. And I'm pretty sure the fanbase would love that. It would put a lot more exposure on Doom, but it would also uh, give a fresh narrative on Halo and Doom. It could be a versus match, it could be a co-op teamwork, something like that. In that realm, they should keep going with what's this game name? The Evil Within. Make a third one. That would do them wonder. My question to you is, as as of right now, with Microsoft buying Bethesda, but Bethesda being quote unquote keep letting them doing their own thing. Does sales matter to them? Yes or no?
No, it's about Game Pass. It's about people subscribing to Game Pass,
Yeah,
So
and
if that's
like
the
people are
case,
going to buy those games because like
no,
Doom.
but if that's the case, then I can see them then making content exclusives and not included on PlayStation.
I think you're right. I think it's gonna depend because like Starfield, like we talked earlier about like who has affinity for what based on history with it, what groups of players on what platforms have history with franchises. Starfield, I don't think you're going to see that on anything but Xbox and PC because nobody know we've seen a space station in space, a planet, and then zooming stars and a logo. That's all we know. That's other than some rumors about like vehicles and like
If
you can have a shop that other players can visit and there's like a current like a economy like that's just some rumors in a teaser trailer. I personally think you will see Elder Scrolls 6 or a Fallout 5 on PlayStation 5, but it will be years out. It might not be 1 year timed exclusivity, it might be 2 years or 2.5 years because the amount of money you could make off of that, like Skyrim has sold like 35 million units. That's a lot. Like when it comes out, if it comes out on PlayStation 5, people are going to buy that. But if you say nothing about it coming to PlayStation when you start to show it off, people are going to say, "Okay, I'm going to buy an Xbox to play that," or "Okay, I'll buy that on Steam," or "Oh, it's coming to Game Pass. I'll subscribe to Game Pass for PC to play it." And then if it just, if they start to talk about it coming to PS5 2 years later or something, then it will sell there because there are going to be people who are like, I want to play Elder Scrolls, but I don't want to mess with any of this Xbox stuff. That's just going to happen no matter
yeah,
what.
and there's already a lot of people that's like that now. Like you see them saying, "Man, don't put." Like I've seen comments, people say, "Don't put this on Xbox. If you do, I'll never play another one of your games."
Yeah, people.
again."
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there are people who still don't play Final Fantasy because 13 was on 360, right? Like,
Right. It's like, come on, man, and you got to stop hating on these platforms and just play games. At some point, it's
I
not that
don't
serious.
understand, I don't
But
understand that people would
yeah, I don't understand it either.
yeah,
But
sell out
it's
either way.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous
Like
because I know you
just
don't even do
play
that,
your
Rob. But
game.
you try games on Game Pass, even though you got
right,
it down for Xbox. You'll go, okay, Minecraft Dungeons came out. I'm gonna play that, and you have your thoughts on it, but you played it. You didn't go, that's a Game Pass game, and that's on Xbox, so forget that. I'll never think about it.
right.
That's
Like to
when
me,
people do that. That doesn't make sense.
if you're a gamer, you should give games an opportunity. There's
I
Absolutely.
nothing
play
wrong with
games.
preferring
I
one
don't play
platform.
consoles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
there
nothing
you
wrong
go.
with preferring one platform over another. But if there's something that you like or you're intrigued for it, you should definitely give it the opportunity to play, especially if you have access to it. I think that I honestly, after listening to the interview with Phil, Pete, Major, and Todd, I think that Starfield will be exclusive.
Yeah, that's
Um,
such a good interview. I think anybody within distance of my voice that can hear this or our voices should go listen to that interview on Major
Yeah,
Nelson's
that was
YouTube
really
Okay,
good.
channel.
question.
Huh?
Sorry for cutting you off, Cam. Um,
Oh, you're good.
can Bethesda not get in trouble with this if they already decided that the game was going to come to PlayStation?
But they
Is
didn't.
it
Starfield?
some sort of
Starfield has
agreement?
no.
They
Starfield has no platform.
Yeah, there's no platforms announced for Starfield. I can tell you what they could get in trouble for potentially, which they already said they're not going to do, is if they bought Bethesda and said, "All right, Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo are never coming to PlayStation 5."
Right.
If because
Yeah,
there's
no, they
already
already said
there's already
that.
ink signed with lawyers on that one between Bethesda, ZeniMax, and Sony, right? So if they did something about that, then they could probably come in and go, okay, we're suing the hell out of you guys. Those were our exclusives. You took them from us for no reason. You
Mhm.
bought them out from underneath us. But Phil has already come out and said, no, don't worry. Those are going to Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo still timed exclusive. Which in my mind, I was like, damn, I don't want to have to buy a PlayStation 5 to play those. But now I don't even have to buy those games when they come out. They just come with my $15 a month subscription.
Yeah, they'll come with Game Pass within 6 months to a year. But yeah, I think once those games release, and this is how I feel what Microsoft's going to do, because Phil said on a case-by-case basis, he said Bethesda's kind of working like semi-independently, meaning that they'll probably continue to make their own games and publish, a lot of their content. But I think the final decisions will always come down to Microsoft because they're the parent company now. So they're going to make the final decisions on where the game goes, whether it's exclusive. I'm sure they'll have meetings over it. But the thing is, there's a lot of fans out there that's like, Microsoft doesn't want to lose money. That there's 110 million PlayStations out there, bro. Microsoft, the difference between Microsoft and PlayStation is that PlayStation needs those 110 consoles. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where they sell their games. It's the only place they're really selling their games. They're not putting their games on PC. They're not putting their games on Steam day one and date. Those games are coming a year, 2 years later. So there's going to be a big difference. Now, the good thing is that even though those games come a year or 2 years later, they're still selling pretty well. Horizon Zero Dawn sold like 715,000 copies on Steam, which is really impressive.
Yeah.
And that's a great
that game was broken as heck.
I have a friend, still does not work for him. Like 4 updates in, still does not boot on his computer. And he has like a top of the line PC.
But that type of success is a type of success that will make Sony say, you know what, we need to release this the same day as the game releases. And it's going to happen at some point.
I think conversations with friends, we've kind of decided like it'll happen at some point for Sony, but there will be those 2 exceptions that they want you to buy a PlayStation for, and it'll probably never happen day and date with Naughty Dog or Santa Monica games. Those will always be go and buy a PS5 to play these new games. But like Ben's next game, and maybe like Polyphony 2, right? Like you want to get Gran Turismo on the PlayStation only, but like if you want to play Ragnarok, or if you want to play Uncharted 5 or Last of Us Part 3, you got to wait a long time to get them on PC. Yeah. You might as well just go buy a console.
Right. But
I don't think... go ahead.
I was just going to say, but the difference is with Microsoft...
There's never that.
Yeah, if you get Starfield, you can make it exclusive to Game Pass because Microsoft doesn't have an issue with the PC fan base.
No.
They're releasing games both on Xbox and PC because they look at PC as another platform for themselves. And because that's another platform for them, they're able to push and market that and make money through that platform. So you got Game Pass on PC, you got Steam, you got the Windows Store, then you got Xbox itself as a console. You have all these options and ways to play this game. And when you look at the PC market, it's bigger than the PlayStation market. You know what I'm saying? The mobile market is bigger than the PlayStation market. So the thought that Microsoft needs PlayStation is a false equivalency. They don't need them. Now, if they want to double dip and say charge $70, they could do that and make a little bit extra cash on top of what they already have with Game Pass. But if you truly want to get those subscribers up, if that is your goal, if that is your intention to have monthly MAU as monthly users, and having that consistency with Game Pass and seeing those subs go up, you don't spend $7.5 billion to make games for your competition.
Yeah, that's true.
You just don't.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they're gonna honor those contracts, and don't be shocked if Elder Scrolls is exclusive to Xbox in 2026. Right around when it's time to refresh, right around when it's like the mid-cycle of the Xbox Series X, and here comes the new Elder Scrolls on a new engine. I wouldn't be surprised. They said Starfield's pretty close to being shown. Yeah. So that means maybe 2 years, 3 years from now, we might get a Starfield. And you start looking at Microsoft's roadmap now over the next, like maybe not this year, right?
No.
This year we could say this year is kind of a bust. They're going to be heavily relying on third parties and indies, which reminds me of PlayStation 4 when it launched. Like, you're right, Cam. It's like very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Because PlayStation really relied on indie games early on in the generation. And it wasn't until maybe like a year in or two where they got Bloodborne and they starting to pick up the pace with some of their first party titles. But with Microsoft, it's very similar because this year, all we're hearing about is how PlayStation has this great launch lineup, which is cool. But I'm telling you, when 2021 hits, it's all downhill. You're gonna get fit. You're gonna wind up getting Halo. It's gonna drop. You're gonna wind up getting Forza. It's gonna drop. You're gonna wind up eventually seeing Fable probably the next year. Avowed will probably be starting to release within that time. Who knows what the initiative is working on at that point. Like State of Decay 3 may come out in 2023. By 2024, you might get Starfield. You know what I'm saying? Like, you start thinking about these Bethesda games starts coming out.
Then what's Arcane doing, right?
That's what I'm saying. Arcane's got a new IP.
Wolfenstein 3's got to come out. Doom 3's got to come out.
That's what I'm saying. Like, once you start to really look at the roadmap, Microsoft could drop a game every quarter for the next 10 years and not skip a beat.
Mm-hmm.
At this point.
Two games every quarter.
26 studios. And some of these studios are two teams. Like Playground is two teams. You know what I'm saying? Like Ninja Theory has like 3 teams working on 3 different games.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you could really start to see these games between AA, AAA, and even some of the smaller titles really go into this crazy rotation where Microsoft don't skip a beat and every game is in Game Pass. We're not even dropping $70. Like, at some point, if you're going to be looking at Microsoft and Xbox saying to yourself, I gotta get an Xbox, bro. I can't keep spending $140 on 2 games every month. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm spending, $210 on 3 games for the year. That's insane. That's an insane amount of money after a while. And then you start seeing AAA games go into a service for $15 at that rate, bro. Come on, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah. It's the value is going to be undeniable at some point.
Yeah,
I think if you got the foresight for it, now that the value is pretty, like what they offer us now is pretty good. I'm pretty satisfied with my $15 a month now. When I'm getting a new Doom, a new Wolfenstein, a new Arcane game, Elder Scrolls 6, Starfield probably several years before that, on top of Halo stuff, Gear stuff, Forza stuff, what Rare's doing, the Initiative, Ninja Theory, and then EA Play. Those are EA games on a delay, right?
Right.
And then Gold, 2 games a month from that. Granted, the quality, or 4 games a month from that, the quality is a little varying, but it's still something to look at and try. Mm-hmm. Stuff maybe that's good for the kids in some cases. Mm-hmm. And then these bonuses, right? What are they called? It's not bonuses. It's like extras or rewards. Like I got 3 months free delivery from Postmates from Game Pass Ultimate. Like, like, come on. Like, of course I'm going to take getting Discord Nitro and Spotify Premium, just 3 months of these things just for having Game Pass Ultimate. Like, that's $15 a month, giving you hundreds of dollars worth of stuff every year.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people be like, "Oh, 15." Like, I watch some PC guys go, "Oh, the price of Game Pass went up from $4.99 to $9.99. It was too much. I had to get off of it."
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I spend $15 on Chinese food every day. like, what is $15 at this point? Like, what are we really crying about here?
It's put away like 50 cents every day for the month.
It's insane.
That's it.
It really is. But listen, Microsoft they did the damn thing, man. My hat goes off to them. I was very upset when I won't say upset, but I was very envious of Sony when they got the exclusive deal for Final Fantasy 16, and I already said I was going to get a PlayStation 5 for it, and I still have my PlayStation 5 reserved, without question. And I feel like I have to get the PS5 because I know if I don't get the PS5, I'm not going to get it to like mid-generation.
Yeah, that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, I don't want to get it to mid-generation because every time I do that, like same thing. Like I had a 360, I didn't get a PS3 for a long time, and I didn't get a PS3 to like 2011, and at that point, I had no real interest in it. You know what I'm saying? Xbox had so many games and 360 was doing so well. I just didn't have no interest in it and wound up trading it in. Same thing. Got the Xbox One, played that to, good couple years. Got the PS4. I didn't have no friends on PS4, nobody to play with. There was nothing really engaging at that point for me. So I wound up, losing that too. So for me, this time around, I want to sort of build a base with the PS5 and build a base with some people on there. I want to really give it a chance. And there's some games on there that have me interested, like Miles Morales and Final Fantasy 16, obviously. Final Fantasy 7 should be releasing next year on the Series X. Once that exclusivity deal is up. So I'll be looking forward to that on the Xbox. And then eventually Final Fantasy 16 will hit. But I'll probably have them on PlayStation at that point. And obviously I'll have my Xbox as well. But I just think that Microsoft has really put themselves in a strong position with this Bethesda deal. They're going to be competing. I don't think Sony needs to go out and buy any publishers or platforms to compete with Microsoft. They do very well with their first party. But it will be difficult to deny Game Pass and what it offers and not offer that to your own fan base over time. I really feel like that's going to put pressure on PlayStation.
It's a big loss to lose Elder Scrolls potentially or Bethesda games in general because your console sales probably go up when those games come out. Right. That's all I was.
Yeah. So I have a different opinion about that in the sense of I do believe PlayStation should to go and buy a studio. However, it needs to be strategical and not just out of a whim.
Who would you want them to buy?
I would buy Sega or Square Enix.
I don't know if they could swing Sega. Who was the other one you said?
They definitely can get Sega or Square Enix for the reason
Square Enix.
Those are so much.
There's no way.
They work a lot with each other, PlayStation and Square.
Yeah, but that's Square Enix is
but now imagine if PlayStation go to Square and say, okay, look what the Microsoft just did now. 7.5
billion. You think Sony's gonna drop 10 billion or more on Square Enix? Because I can tell you right now, Square Enix is worth more than Bethesda. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh yeah. And I'm pretty sure they're a publicly traded company over there.
Now imagine if if let's say Microsoft buys Square Enix, PlayStation would lose mad fans for their Final Fantasy IPs, Kingdom Hearts IPs, and all their IPs, which is why PlayStation right now need to really think long and hard who they need to buy, and they really need to buy either Square Enix or Sega.
I
don't think they can afford them.
And because the only reason I agree with that is because Microsoft was able to buy Bethesda because Bethesda was a privately owned company where they had people come in and help them make business decisions, and then they would go and buy studios, and then they'd be privately owned. Sega and Square Enix are both publicly traded in Japan. Those are companies where their equity is tied up in so many other Sega's into amusements and casino equipment and stuff too, and arcades.
You gotta get Sega Sammy.
Yeah,
that's
that would be
a bunch of other stuff.
That would be so much money, right?
Right. And right now, Sony is only worth about 40 billion.
No, they're actually worth around 90 billion.
I don't know. Last thing I saw was 40 billion. Microsoft is $1 trillion company.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
7.5 billion for them is nothing. They said they literally make $1 billion just free money a day. That's just insane. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's absolutely insane. I just don't know if Sony has that type of bread to just go out and spend.
You know what they should do?
Remember, PlayStation saved my Square Enix.
Yeah, that
was back in the day. So that was a whole.
Their relationship is very good.
Of course. No,
I think that they should.
Yeah, go ahead. Come.
Instead of buying someone, there's a publisher over in Japan. They're not doing anything. Think
Oh,
about what Konami has.
Konami would work.
Konami.
You don't have to buy them outright. What you have to do is you have to go to them because they're all about pachinko machines and amusements and arcades and all this stuff too. And I think it's not horse racing. There's something else that maybe it's hospitality, like hotels or something like that. They're not using Metal Gear, Silent Hill, Castlevania, and
Apparently.
Zone of the Enders. They're not using that for anything other than like re-releases of the collections, which are really small. Like they come to every platform, and then like I was in Reno like 4 years ago, and I want to say I saw like it was like a Silent Hill themed like slot machine or something, or it was weird. Like that's the kind of stuff that they're doing with those franchises. Someone could come in and like be like, okay, we want those franchises and they're going to only appear on our platform, and we're going to give it to our developers, or we're going to set up studios over here, or we want to use your internal development studios and kind of build them up, and then those games only come to our platform. If Sony wants to make a move, go do that before Phil does it. Because Phil has what I just said. Phil thought about that a year ago, and he's thinking about ways to go and do it every single day.
It's funny because you say that, it's like I be sleeping on Phil. At this
Everybody
point,
does.
I think a lot of us be sleeping on, like, people be dissing Phil.
Oh yeah, people hate him, but it's just
and I'd be like, Phil is too soft. He ain't got no fight. Yo, on the low, Phil and Matt Booty be out here making these moves.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know about it. We be popping all of this crap, and then they drop these bombs on us.
We thought Obsidian was a megaton. He did Obsidian times 10, and he's not done yet.
Yeah, I gotta stop talking about. I gotta stop doubting Phil. I gotta change up. I gotta do a change up because this is just too crazy to me. It really is. It really is. All right, I want to talk about Tokyo Game Show before Cam gets out of here. Very quickly, Microsoft did their Tokyo Game Show today. Nothing impressive. Everybody thought they was going to buy Sega because of something, and that didn't happen at all. But I think what was really important was that we got to see a lot of the partners that Microsoft is going to be working with coming out of Japan, and it was very, very. What's the word I'm looking for? I guess you could say it was very positive and well received by, I guess, the Xbox fan base. Anybody who is a Xbox fan and a fan of Japanese games like myself and a few others out there, especially RPGs, stuff like that, there's a strong possibility Microsoft may be having some real talented content and studios that's going to be working with them. Square obviously is one of them. Sega is another. I mean, at one point, Phil even talked about it. He talked about Persona. He had Persona in his speech as he recognized some of the great talented games that came out of there. I would love to see Persona hit Xbox at some point. Maybe it never will, but if it does, I'll be very surprised and impressed. Obviously, we have the new Fantasy Star DLC or whatever the big update that's coming out, actually next gen only. I thought that was going to come to Xbox One, but it's not. It's not. It's only on Xbox One X. I mean Xbox Series X. Excuse me. Got these names.
These names.
Yeah, you're right. These names. Xbox Series X. So this update is going to be an Xbox Series X update only, is my last thing I saw. And then you obviously see the Nier Automata stuff, and that's cool. I watched the Nier Automata thing with Square, and
Nier Replicant's coming out April. That's really the only thing I've seen.
Microsoft is only getting a digital version while PlayStation gets the whole extravaganza, and I respect that.
That's how the last Nier worked, right?
Yeah, but you know what? I think that's important. I think Microsoft should do that. Like, to me, if you can get, like, I know some people may be upset they may not get the physical disc.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are collectors. But if you can just get the game on Xbox, period,
that's what I've been saying. That's how Persona needs to come to Xbox. You don't have to release the Persona 5 Royal Steelbook with all the cool stuff in the cover. Just put the damn game on there for people to play, and then they'll go, okay, this is pretty cool. I like this. And then when the 6th game comes out, then people go, okay, how come there's no like physical thing? And then you can do a physical run, like
right.
I'm looking at the new gameplay right now, and it looks very good.
Yeah, Nier looks good. I gotta play it. It's in Game Pass. I gotta play before it leaves.
No, not Nier Automata.
Oh,
The other one.
Replicant.
A replicant.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I never played it, so it's cool that they're remaking the.
Yeah, I gotta play Automata. I haven't
I-
played it yet.
How many are they making? I understood two.
There's okay, so there was the first Nier, and there was a difference between the Western versions and the Japanese versions. This
I'm aware
remake
of that.
Replicant is the Japanese version now coming to the
Okay.
West. Then there was Nier Automata, and then there's Sinnoh Alice, which is a phone game, and then
Mhm.
there's another Nier phone game that's more like a traditional video game coming out.
Jesus.
So yeah,
Okay.
the Square Enix really likes Nier all of a sudden after Automata came out and won them a bunch of awards and everything.
That's dope. That's dope. I just think, you got the Yakuza series hitting the Xbox, which again, we always talked about how that's just a weird deal. How Yakuza Like a Dragon is going to launch on the Xbox Series X exclusively, yet it's on other
Apparently-
platforms. Yeah, it's on
Apparently, there's a
PS4.
new Yakuza in the making. I mean,
Okay.
a new announcement for a new Yakuza.
Yeah, I could see that. They also announced that they're doing so Sega's working on a movie right
Yeah,
now.
the Yakuza movie.
I
based on
want to
the
see
series,
that.
which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty dope. But I think after they drop this, I'm pretty sure Microsoft will wind up getting the rest of Yakuzas if they're gonna, do some type of upgrades or whatever it is, or I don't know,
Mhm.
remaster it or something. But I expect those games to hit Game Pass at some point. But it's cool to see those games on the Xbox platform, man. It really is impressive, and I think Phil did the right thing. The right thing for Microsoft is not to try to convince Japanese developers that you can sell in Japan. That's just not ideal. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get some sales. The sales are not going to be significant in comparison to Nintendo and PlayStation. Because even though they said that Japan, they've seen an 82% uptick in, I guess you could say, users through Game Pass.
Mm.
And that is actually their fastest growing market.
See, we talked about this on one of my first episodes on Tick, is that xCloud was going to be big in Asia where they like playing games on their phone.
Oh, right, because they're always they're on their way to work, they're on their way home, and they're always doing things mobily.
Yes.
And so for them, this Game Pass thing has been a big success out there. Now, consoles is a different story. Obviously Nintendo is king in Japan. Let's just keep it 100. Nintendo is king in Japan. And they've already taken over both Xbox and PlayStation over there. And Nintendo's doing their damn thing as always. PlayStation obviously is very successful in Japan and will always be successful in Japan. Xbox has a lot of work to do, but they're getting in there in other ways. Will it be significant? Who knows what the generation will hold? But as of right now, for them, it's enough for them to recognize that they want to make a better effort in presenting their content over there and launching a console the same day globally, which is something they didn't do the beginning of this generation.
Yeah.
So, as somebody who's, begged and fought and campaigned for Microsoft to work with Japanese developers, open up a Japanese studio, purchase a Japanese studio, I'm very happy to see that Phil is out there. Excuse me. Phil is out there working with these guys and rebuilding relationships with them, and basically let them know that we might not be able to sell your content in your country, but we can sell your content to the West.
Yeah.
And we have a strong relationship in the West. And because of that, we have an opportunity to have your games played where people who may not have thought about purchasing it will give it an opportunity. And that's what's happened with Game Pass. That's what's happened with Nier. That's what's happened with Yakuza. You see these games hit the platform. People normally wouldn't go out and purchase these games. You have a lot of Xbox guys who feel like Japanese games aren't for them. And yet I'm starting to see a lot of people play these games like, I really enjoyed Yakuza, or I really like Nier, or I really like that. And they're starting to open up a little bit. And I think that's great. That's phenomenal. That's the one thing that Game Pass does, is that it lets people try something to see if they like it. And if they like it, they can buy it or they continue to play it and beat it. But it gives that developer's game an opportunity to shine. You know what I'm saying? So I would hope that more Japanese developers take an opportunity to put their games out there to Microsoft on Game Pass, and Microsoft continues to push that content in the West. Because I just feel like they're going to have a really good generation coming up based on everything I've been seeing them doing so far.
By the way, did you hear that Bandai Namco bought the developer that was the developer that was working on this Indian game, the one with the girl that
Yeah, the little girl. I
yeah,
forgot what it's called. Yeah, I saw that.
unknown 9 or
Yeah,
something.
Unknown 9. Yeah,
Yeah,
I peeped that. That was interesting for sure. That was definitely interesting.
super interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I like to see. I like stuff like that.
Also, since we're talking about Nier, Yokotaro, the creator of Nier Automata and Nier, came out and said that he have kidney problems from alcohol. So
Oh,
he
that,
said, he
That's
gets
terrible.
better soon.
yeah, that's absolutely horrible, man.
Yeah, indeed.
Kidney disease is a terrible disease. Really is. That's not good. You know, I don't drink. I don't drink or
Neither
smoke.
do I.
Yeah, I don't like
I
to
drink
taste
once a
alcohol.
week. That's
That's
it.
cool. You know what? It's funny. I had a terrible experience as a child. I think I was like in Brooklyn and Coney Island, and my uncle gave me a sip of Budweiser when I was like 8 years old.
Mhm.
Never drink again. Nastiest stuff I've ever tasted in my life.
A lot of people I know have had that experience. I was kind of that way until like I got into my early 20s, and I was like, occasionally this is good. So drinking once a week is the most I ever have in my life, and that started maybe like a year ago. But I definitely need to make it maybe once a month or something because
at my wedding, I had a sip of champagne and that was it. I couldn't even drink the champagne.
Yeah.
My wife could drink, but me, I just can't. I can't drink, and I never smoked. I used to play sports, so for me, my lung capacity was always important. So I never smoked weed, and never smoked cigarettes or anything like that. I try to keep a clean body and health as much as I possibly can. And I'll be honest with you, I've had some health issues over the years, so I really think that's helped. Like I think if I had if I was drinking or if I was smoking, my condition might be worse. You know what I'm saying? But I think because I haven't,
it's good to stay off those things.
Yeah. Like I think my body's been able to have the strength to fight some things off. So, but anyway, we're off subject.
I'm unfortunately going to have to leave you guys here.
Yeah.
I have to go do PS5 pre-orders in the morning. I'm sure you guys are about to talk about the PS5.
Oh my God, PS5 pre-orders. I still have my pre-order with Amazon.
Yeah. Yes. People are going to be coming in and wanting that and Demon Souls. So I'm gonna be out. It's good being here. I'm sad I'm gonna have to leave early, but you guys got it from here, obviously.
Quick question before you head out: how many digitals are you guys getting?
Less for sure. I think it was 12 PS5s total, 10 physical and 2 digital.
2 digital.
I will for sure like remember what it was tomorrow morning and then like tell you guys when I get off work.
All right, sounds good.
So you guys know for sure, and we can talk about it next week then maybe. But yeah, good luck with the rest of the show.
All right, bro. You take it easy. Have a good night.
All right, see you guys. I'm out. See you.
So, what was I gonna say? Yeah, man, this whole thing with these consoles to me is just crazy because it's like Xbox only released like 7 Xbox One Series X's and only like 2 Xbox Series S. I'm saying S swipe. Xbox Series X's and 2 Xbox Series S's, and it's nuts, man. Because like I don't.
So what do you think? COVID? What do you think? COVID?
No, I don't think it's COVID.
So
some people
what's
are saying
happening?
that it's hard to manufacture the games because of
The games, or you mean the console?
it's hard to manufacture the consoles because of the materials. The materials are hard to come by. You know what I'm saying?
Because of COVID?
I don't know. I don't know if it's because of COVID. I don't know if it's because people buying up cards like SSDs and stuff like that on the market. It's just some of the things that I've been hearing. Um,
This is
I,
also on the PlayStation front, right?
yeah, PlayStation as well. But it's funny because Sony had all the news about them having less consoles, and I'm seeing more consoles
Yeah.
that are out there available for them than Xbox. I think Xbox is having the issues with the consoles. It's not good. It's crazy because I actually lost my Xbox reserve. I had a Best Buy reserve and it got
What?
canceled. Yeah, it got canceled.
Dude.
Yep,
Not cool.
I know. So now I gotta find a second batch of Xbox reserves.
I
Whenever those,
actually remember when Sony cloned PlayStation for their pre-order disaster.
Mhm.
Well, look how it is now. It seems both companies can't seem to get it right.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy right now. I don't know what's happening, but
Do you think? Sorry. Do you think um the next generation should have been postponed to next year?
no, no, no. We're all ready. Everybody's ready to get out this generation.
Mm-hmm.
And we've already seen too much of next gen, and everybody's ready to move on to next gen. I don't think holding off until next year is going to be a good idea or ideal in any way. So I don't know.
Pe- People starting to get their hands on the Xbox Series X on PlayStation 5 coming soon.
Yeah, the teardowns are coming, so I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
that. I want to see those. Hey, is Sony going to be at Tokyo Game Show?
No, I don't think they are.
Okay.
Which is a mad stupid mistake. I have no idea why they would not do so,
Don't
but
they
maybe
do
because
don't they do like the Paris show?
yeah, but
Normally.
even that I have no idea if they are going to be there. I think because they just did their own show, maybe they felt it's redundant to do
Gotcha.
another one right after.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's talk about this Spider-Man situation, man. So, um, if you're a PlayStation fan, uh, obviously Miles Morales is on your radar. It is one of the games that everybody is talking about, and they're very excited for. Everyone's very excited to get their hands on this new Miles Morales thing, and the problem I think people have right now is with the wording of what Sony and Insomniac are basically doing when it comes to purchasing the game. So my understanding is this: if you buy Miles Morales on the PS4, you get a free upgrade to PS5. But if you want to get Miles Morales with Spider-Man Ultimate, which is the remaster, is $20 more. If you buy it directly on the PlayStation 5, Miles Morales is $49.99. But if you buy it with Ultimate Edition, Spider-Man Ultimate Edition, which comes with the original Spider-Man, it's $69.99.
Mm-hmm.
So what people have a problem with is that no one wants to pay for the upgrade of Miles Morales from the PlayStation 4 to the PlayStation 5. But I think what people are missing is the upgrade for Miles Morales from the PS4 to the PS5 is free, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'm going to explain it now. If you have a PlayStation 4, if you have PlayStation 4 Spider-Man disc, you put it in your PlayStation 5, you can simply play the game and have it on boost mode. So you're going to get more FPS, and so on. Yeah, that's clear. Now, if you want the remaster version, which is being done from the ground up for the PlayStation 5, which in case it means you're going to get haptic feedback, faster load time because of the SSD, and all that, and ray tracing and all that stuff, then you're going to need to be paying for it. So you're actually paying for developers that actually did work. Hence, that is not a free upgrade because it's an actual upgrade and not just let's bump the FPS and resolution and call it a day.
Right. Now, my understanding is that Microsoft has a thing called smart delivery, which some people are now using to gloat because Microsoft's games are getting these upgrades as well, but for free. Um,
But
and
are they going to make use of the SSD as well?
I
Like
mean,
if
my
you like, for example, what's called um, Gear 5, would it be able to make use of the SSD, or is it just a simply FPS and resolution upgrade and that's
no,
it?
my understanding is that it's a real like it takes event like if you they said that if you put Gears 5 on the SSD of the Xbox Series X, you'll get a load boost. Like everything will run better, faster, load faster. Um, you'll get the you get ray tracing, you get the frames boost, you get a resolution boost, and you get an assets boost
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Gotcha.
But again, that's not something that the console's doing. That's something that the developers are doing themselves. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know if they're fixing the character models from scratch, like
Yeah,
suppose.
they said they have better character models. They built everything from the scratch
And that's
up
what I'm saying.
for the PlayStation 5.
Like
It's lots of work. It's literally you're giving them a new game only on the different consoles. That's why they're making you pay for it.
right. I get that part, but I'm just like, it's definitely a hard pill to swallow if you're a PlayStation fan and you're seeing Microsoft get these upgrades for free, and you're gonna have to come out and pay for these upgrades. Um, Especially if the upgrades for the Xbox version of games are the equivalent to the upgrades for the PlayStation games. So listen, everybody does things differently, obviously.
Yeah,
I don't know what to expect from the Spider-Man game. I personally just want to play Miles Morales. Like
you're
I don't
actually
really
wait.
I-
You're missing out on the original. You actually need to play the original to understand the story because this takes exactly time. Exact takes place exactly after the DLC. So you really you can either if you want. You're best off buying the game. You buy
buy the full game, the
the full
whole.
game. You get the upgraded version, and you get Miles Morales with it, and you're going to have a blast.
Maybe I consider that 'cause I was thinking about some games to get between the Xbox and PlayStation. I know Spider-Man was one of them, and what was the other one? Oh my god, I can't remember on top of my head. I can't remember on top of my head, but I know that was
You have Ratchet and Clank. You were not into it. You were into Spider-Man and Final Fantasy.
yeah, but it was something else. It wasn't Godfall, and it wasn't.
Demon Souls? No,
No,
you're
I
not
don't know.
into Demon
It
Souls.
wasn't Ratchet and Clank. I never can get into Ratchet and Clank. I
You
tried to play Ratchet and Clank multiple times.
did you
Never.
play Sunset Overdrive?
I nope. I like Sunset. No, I didn't like Sunset Overdrive. Sunset Overdrive made me sick.
Uh, I think because of the whole traversal.
Yes, the problem with
That was
Sunset
clunky.
Overdrive. That's
That
exactly
was
what drove me
clunky.
crazy because like with Sunset Overdrive, you did a lot of like grinding on rails and swinging
Hmm.
and jumping, and you had to constantly like you couldn't stand still because if you did, you get swarmed and killed. So you had to constantly move to fight the enemies, and that made me nauseous. I don't know why it made me nauseous, but just the constant movement and then trying to find the enemies while I'm moving was very annoying.
Yeah, I
Spider-Man was
understand.
different because I could land, I could sneak attack, I can hide, I can jump and fight. You know what I'm saying? It's a big difference.
A PlayStation launch shop look seems to be amazing, and then next year it's going to be an
Yeah, next year looks
explosion.
pretty dope too. Obviously, with Horizon, I'll be honest with you, I don't think God of War is coming out next year.
I think one of them is going to be delayed,
Yeah,
unless they really banking on Final Fantasy 16 to carry, and they have other surprises. Like we heard rumors of Metal Gear Solid remake.
yeah, I heard about that. That's kind of big.
Yeah, so
That
that
would be big.
rumor popped up. We now seen a remake, maybe a rumor for a Legend of Dragoon. That seemed to be iffy on the iffy side, which I'm really hoped for. And other than that, yeah, it's going to be a bombastic 2 years for PlayStation. This year and then next year.
I don't know. I know that Metal Gear Solid Legend Dragoon remake comes out. Those are megatons if they do come out. Those are huge titles. They're very nostalgic, especially for me. Metal Gear Solid is in my top 5 games all time, along with Final Fantasy VII, Witcher 3, and Chrono Trigger. So those are like some really big franchise. I think fleshing that out is Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 is incredible. I love Mass Effect 2 so much. Knights of the Old Republic is number 6 in my top 10. But I think that Metal Gear coming out, Legend of Dragon coming out, very nostalgic. And if remakes are done as well as like Demon Souls, woo! You want to talk about
Blue Point.
really
PlayStation really need to buy
that
Blue Point.
PlayStation
If
buy
they are not already bought Blue Point,
they
they
bought
really
them,
need
right?
to.
Yeah. That was a good move for them.
I
They don't.
don't know if they bought them legit, but I really think they need to buy them if they already did so.
Yeah, if they
Because
haven't, they definitely need to pick up Blue Point. That would be a great studio for them.
yeah.
They've worked with them for so long. It reminds me of Playground games. Like Playgrounds only work with Microsoft. They've had a lot of success with them, so being picked up by them makes sense. Same thing with the Dead Labs team with State of Decay. They've worked with them for so long, makes sense. Blue Point to me, Blue Point and House Marquee, even though they're independent, I feel like are a studio that has worked very well with PlayStation. And if they pick them up, I wouldn't be surprised. They would make a great studio for Sony. Anyway.
What's your take on Luna?
Oh my God, this Amazon thing. Look, I got this dev man that I'm really cool with at Amazon, and I'm trying to get him on the show. We had to delay him coming on because of COVID and homeschooling and everything like that. Post, what up? See you in the chat. But he I got to get him on the show, man. I definitely want to talk to him about this whole Luna situation. I'll tell you right now, I feel like Luna has already beaten Stadia.
People have been saying that.
Yeah, just based on the model that they have, the subscription model that they have, $4.99 a month, get access to all these games. Stadia has you paying a membership and buying games. It just doesn't work. And with Luna, they actually have a deal they're working out with Ubisoft where there's going to be some things happening as well.
Do you think Luna can rival Game Pass?
Yeah, my bad, Post. So listen, I think that Luna is and it's okay. I don't know if they're going to be able to compete with the big 3. I feel like they'll be able to compete because there's no entry for them. Like there's no console. Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, they all have consoles, which are really big entry points to them. Microsoft, between those two, are really, and even PlayStation with PS Now, but Microsoft is really at the forefront where you can not have an Xbox and sort of hop in and play games. PlayStation with PS Now, you can do it very similarly with the PC, but right now it's PC only. So with Stadia in Apple, I'm not Apple, in Amazon, you're able to play via PC, iOS, and eventually Android. In PC,
Mac,
iOS, Android, and obviously, and I think Apple, right? Apple is iOS.
Yep.
Yeah. So so they have their options and giving access to people to play those games and stuff like that. But right now, the libraries are going to be really small, and you're not going to have enough of a difference in comparison to what PlayStation is offering, Nintendo is offering, and Xbox is offering as far as exclusive content. And I think that's right now is what's going to separate them. Now, Amazon, I know for a fact, have games that they're working on exclusively. It's just whether or not the quality is going to be able to compete with the big 3. And
unless they buy studios.
Well, that's why Microsoft gobbled up Bethesda.
Look, man, this is what the real war starts or begins. In terms of the next 5, 10, or maybe 15, 20 years, if you want to look ahead. they're further down. Seen this coming years ago, in terms of the landscape of the industry changing, especially when cloud gaming came into being. That the industry, in terms of studios, will start get consolidated amongst the big in Microsoft, Sony, Amazon, and Google and stuff like that, because they want to put themselves in a position where they have the best content in their ecosystem, and that's why Microsoft made that Bethesda move. You know, it was not just about content, but technology and all that stuff. But Microsoft want to put themselves in a position where they have the ecosystem where they have the best content in their ecosystem. And I think they woke up a sleeping giant. I know Amazon just announced their joint today. They were supposed to announce it a while ago, but COVID-19 kind of delayed everything. But they announced it today. And I think they announced it today because Microsoft put the industry on notice.
Right.
They put the industry on notice. People say Microsoft, hey, you're $1 trillion company. Well, they just showed you that they're gonna buy up the talent and the content for their ecosystem. And for people who think it's gonna be on other platforms, you got another thing coming. You don't go spend $7.5 billion on Bethesda, right? And then leave the games on other platforms. It doesn't make sense when you could have just, for lesser, for cheaper, pay Bethesda to put your games day and date into Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
You could have just did that if you was gonna leave it on all the other systems and stuff like that, and ecosystems. You could have spent less money just having Bethesda putting the games on game day and date on Game Pass.
Right.
So you go spend that $7.5 billion because you know Amazon coming. You know Google getting things together. You know Walmart talking about having a gaming subscription service. You know, Verizon is low key building a game subscription service. They got leaked a while ago, right? You know, you hook up with Samsung. You know, all these people and all these other businesses. You got Tencent out there that's buying up, that's either investing in businesses in the United States or either buying them up. So you know all the competition is out there. You got to get to it before they do. And that's why Nadalia say they're not finished. Now I want to see how this whole Amazon thing play out. I signed up for the beta. I want to see how it plays because I did the same thing with Google. And that was spectacular. And I think in terms of the Bethesda deal, that Orion technology, that streaming technology that they were working on, that's built into the engine, I think that's going to bode well for xCloud as well too. And I think that's another reason why they brought them. From my understanding, this deal has been going on. They've been on and off conversations for the last 3 years. Talk started back in 2018. And here in 2020, they've been having these conversations back and forth for the last 3 years. And here we are in 2020, and they finally got it done. That was a big, major move for the industry. And I don't think people know how significant that move is. And I think that kind of made Amazon show their hand today. And because I know Amazon said they was going to show it at one point.
Sorry for one question. Can Amazon compete with Sony then and Xbox?
What'd you say?
He said, can Amazon compete with Sony and Xbox?
Yes. Amazon can outbuy Sony in terms of publishers, in terms of studios and stuff. In terms of financial, they have, you got some companies there that's a little more financially stable than Sony right now. Not saying Sony is in a bad position.
No, I understand your point.
Yeah, but you got some companies that can outspend them, and that's why Sony said, "Look, hey Microsoft, look, I know we competitors, but in this cloud shit, we finna do this partnership, and we finna work together with this cloud, come up with some cloud technology and stuff for both our systems. because we got these up. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, because these other big old companies coming in, poaching and trying to approach on our scene, and we can't have it. So Sony gonna have their shit together. It's gonna take some time, but believe me, what they gonna probably do with PS Now is gonna be incredible once they get their back end taken care of, and that's what Microsoft helping them with. And what they come up with in terms of this whatever they do with cloud technology, it's going to be amazing. But I understand why Sony kind of, Microsoft, come over here, let's, your data. So you have more data centers than Google and Amazon. You look like you're in more places than them too as well. Look, we're gonna have to partner up on this. And so this is where the real war began. It's no longer about hardware. It's content is king. You know what I'm saying? Content is king right now. And whatever ecosystem has the best content, in terms of whether it's you playing on your hardware, whether you playing on PC, whether you plan on strictly from their subscription service through cloud gaming or a telephone or a tablet, that's where people is going to go. And Microsoft is kind of taking that first step to say, look, we finna start buying up shit, and we're letting you know that we're willing to spend the money to do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's scary. That's scary. They $7.5 billion in cash.
Question: if your PlayStation and Xbox, would you work together to stop Amazon and the rest from coming on your turf?
Yeah, you have to. You have to.
So then it makes no sense for them to be keeping this stuff exclusive then.
Yeah, but that's
Would it,
No, I'm not talking about from
or
I'm
are
not
you
talking
only
from a
talking
content
about cloud?
perspective. Yeah, I'm talking about in terms of the cloud technology. In order to get ahead of them. Look, we gonna have our different contents and ecosystem, but we still gonna work together on this cloud technology to get ahead of. You know what I'm saying? Because what Google did, what Google first showed, that was scary. When I first played that shit, and it was like 1-to-1, like it was no lag, no latency, or nothing like that. That was scary. That was scary. And Yoshida, who was at the Google reveal, when he was asked about it, he was like, "We got a lot of work in terms of Sony." He said, "We got a lot of work to do." You know what I'm saying? And to me, that was like, man, Sony felt as though they was behind, given though they kind of got out there before everybody. It's just that since 2014, they hadn't been investing in cloud like that. From what I'm saying, I think the regime that was in place wasn't too invested in cloud. Wasn't too invested in the cloud technology, because if there was, it would have grown from 2014 to now. Now that the new regime in there with Jim Ryan, from what I heard, the whole old regime, the Sony that helped got the PS4 to where it was, is gone. It's a whole new regime in place. And this comes from somebody who used to work at Sony and still know people who work at Sony. He say the whole old regime that made PS4 is gone. And so now you got Jim Ryan in there, and he like, okay, we need this cloud thing. We need to finally get this thing situated. But now that we so far behind, we need our options are either we got three competitors that are option. Either we're gonna stay with Amazon, either we can go work with Microsoft, or we can go over to Google. I think Microsoft was lesser of three evils.
Yeah, the lesser
Of two evils.
Yeah, that's up two evils.
Yeah,
And so they had to use that to kind of, since Microsoft is already stable in their data centers, they had to, use Microsoft to kind of speed up the process, so to say, because at this point, you can't go out building data centers. It'll take you the next 10 to 15 years to even try to catch up or match what your other competition is doing right now. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's all.
Very interesting, man. This generation coming up is going to be very competitive all around, man. It really is. It's looking like it's. I'm telling you right now, if you're a gamer, we gonna love this generation.
Hey, if you're a gamer, rejoice. I don't care if it's PlayStation, Nintendo, Switch, or Microsoft. This is going to be one of the most best and competitive generations of all time because all of these companies, from Amazon to Microsoft to Google and whoever else gonna jump in the fray, it's going to be fighting and competing for your mind share and your dollar.
This reminds me of the year when like everything, like Atari Jaguar, TurboGrafx 16, Panasonic 3, like all those consoles came out at the same time.
Yeah,
man, that was a crazy generation. It was some amazing games that came out that year too. Yeah. I just think that's what's going to wind up happening. Just the content is going to be king. There's going to be a lot of services available for people to play. Right. Yeah. It's just whoever has the best content and the easiest entry into getting access to those games is really going to be at the forefront. And the good thing about Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox is that they have established bases.
Yep.
So they're already ahead of Google and Amazon. Amazon and Google have to build a base to compete with the big three, and that's very difficult to do.
Yeah.
It's very difficult because a lot of us are loyal. Like, I hate to sound that way, but
no, you're wrong. No, I mean you're correct. My bad.
Yeah, a lot of fans are loyal to one particular platform or prefer a particular platform. They're willing to try, but not many will leave. You know, and if they do, it's between platforms. It's not like they're jumping to Google or Amazon. They're going from PlayStation to Xbox or Xbox to PlayStation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
and I still think I still think Sony has a major purchase coming. They're gonna buy.
What do you think?
Yeah, they would buy. I don't know. I know. I think they already got Blue Point. Because the same thing that happened when Insomniac did something, and one of the Sony was like something about being a part of their family, and then
I saw that.
And then they did the same thing with Blue Point about them being a part of their family. So I think they already got it. It's just a matter of time, and that bodes well. But just imagine this: Sony right now is using that PS4 collection as a backdoor to Game Pass.
Right.
It's really a test bed for their kind of like Game Pass subscription. They're not gonna say it like Yoshida said. He say it's not Game Pass, but it's the next best thing. For now, until they finish getting their stuff together. But just imagine this, Caraba. Look at the first party content Sony has, and think about them having a subscription service similar to Game Pass. I mean, day one. Yeah, they have some of the best talent and best content out there. If Sony was to ever even do something similar in that, they will, bruh. It'd be crazy. And subscription-wise, the numbers, I think they'll get quicker to 15 million than Microsoft did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Solely on their first-party content alone. And you know what? The killer part about this, Sony knows this. Sony know it. They knows this. So that's gonna be scary once they get their stuff together, and once they see how their fan base reacts to PS collection, to see how many people play those games, to see how long they play those games and what they're doing with them, to see how long. Once they figure out and see the numbers, it's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming.
In my opinion, PS collection is for someone like Carl.
Yeah. That didn't get a chance to play the PS4. But that's the thing, though. It's like
Game Pass started off.
That's like, but that's how it is, though. Like, if you have an opportunity, like if you never played in Halo, you can play every Halo on Game Pass.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people talk about Game Pass is bad, but like the reality of it is if you've never had an Xbox, you can experience 3 generations of Xbox in one console.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can play, and it's not like those early games on the Xbox and Xbox 360 were bad. Those were like I don't think people remember how highly rated Gears and Halo were. You know what I'm saying? Like Gears and Halo was like 92, 93, 96. You know, Halo, I mean, Gears was like 92, 93, 94, 95. Like those were highly rated games. You know, the Forzas was highly rated 95. Like they really had some highly rated titles. Fable was in the 80s at that time. You know, they did really well back then. So it wasn't to this generation where things sort of slacked off. I don't know why people act like Sony's first party was always dominant. It really wasn't.
It wasn't.
And, don't get me wrong. I think they had some really good. God of War was a great game on a PS3, PS2. Then you had Killzone. Killzone was never like a franchise killer app, but a lot of people liked it. You know, it reviewed decently. Jack and Daxter was great. I think Sony did really well with platforms, and they had a ton of RPGs, which was incredible. But they had the Jack and Daxter franchises, the Sly Cooper franchise. You had the Crash Bandicoots, Spiral the Dragon. Like there was a lot of platformers on PlayStation that was really impressive and stuff like that. But it really wasn't until this generation where Sony's first party, I think, matured and really popped off. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's just one of those things where I think, yeah, everything takes time. It takes time to develop talent. It takes time to develop a roadmap. I think Microsoft is starting to get on that page with their studios. That's why we're looking at Fable and Avowed and all these upcoming games that we're excited about. And then you have Bethesda. And I think that with the financial backing and the studios that they can collab with, they have the potential to fix a lot of things that they didn't fix. Like people look at Bethesda and like, oh, Bethesda of today is trash, you know, compared to back then, and all their games are buggy. But that's when they're working by themselves. Yeah. Imagine them working together with the InXile guys or the Obsidian guys, or getting some creative directors from Microsoft to come down and help them with technology, or sharing ideas with Rare on Water, or you know, or Playground with their Sky Domes. You know what I'm saying? Like when you start collabing with each other, just like Sony studios collab with each other, you start to eventually learn different techniques and get different ideas and share technology. And that could really help Bethesda in a way that they probably never experienced before.
Just think about this. Bethesda was a PC based company prior to the OG Xbox. It didn't know anything about creating games on console until they brought Morrowind, the first RPG, Western RPG, to the OG Xbox. And then if you look at the interview with Todd Howard, Phil Major Nelson, and Pete Hines, they told you that Microsoft helped them learn how to create games for consoles and things like that with Morrowind. So, and you look how big a deal that is, because Bethesda and Microsoft ushered in the Western RPG era with that when Morrowind hit OG, and it was one of the biggest titles to this day on OG Xbox. And then you look what they did with Jade Empire, and the OG Xbox pretty much ushered in the whole Western RPG scene.
Right.
And pretty much ushered in the whole Western RPG scene. So now they recently said they just overhauled their whole engine. They got a new engine, which is great. So when you get them together with Microsoft and the other studios, and they get to sharing technologies and ideas on how to do certain stuff, but that's the company you knew yesterday with buggy titles. I think that starts to change at some point.
Right.
I think that starts to change at some point.
Right. Well, you know, we'll see how it all plays out in the end. But again, you know, if you're a gamer, you're gonna love this generation. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be real special. A lot of competition, a lot of new games, a lot of new technology. We're going into an era where there's a shift in gaming. Maybe not a PC. If you're a PC gamer, I'm sure you've experienced stuff like this. But if you're a console gamer, this is going to be a shift in technology that a lot of us have not experienced yet. And we're going to start seeing the things that the PC gamers always clamor about as far as frames and things like that and stability and graphics. We're going to start getting those things with these consoles and really understand why 60 and 120 frame games are really important and how it's hard to go back to 30 frames per second and things like that. The technology is just going to be really impressive going forward. Bigger worlds because we have a larger CPU, more content, more characters on screen, particle effects. I'm just very excited to see what we get going into the next generation over the next 10 years. I'm very excited, and everybody should be excited no matter what platform you're on. I think it's going to be special. Just finishing up the Spider-Man topic. The Spider-Man upgrade situation isn't it sounds crazy, but it's really not that bad. I mean,
what?
We kind of spoke about it a little bit, only because if you get the Miles Morales game, just Miles Morales by itself, it's free. It's a free upgrade, right? But if you want the Spider-Man Ultimate Edition, you got to pay $70. I mean, you got to pay $20. If you have Miles Morales, when you upgrade and go to the PlayStation, you get Ultimate Edition for $20. Now, if you buy the PS5 and you buy Miles Morales on the PS5 by itself, it's $50. But if you buy it with Spider-Man Ultimate Edition, right, which is Spider-Man, the game, and Miles Morales, is $70. So I think what people are upset about is that you can't get the original Spider-Man game upgraded for free.
See, you know what? I'm still trying to process. So you know what? He go. Yo, this is what I'm gonna do on the show. Whenever you may come in, what are we doing here, Cal? What are we doing, Cal? That's gonna be your new slogan on the show. When I just got confused by you saying that. Look, man, what happened to believing in generations?
That's funny. I don't know, bro. It's crazy. It definitely is crazy and weird how they have it set up. Considering the people at Microsoft are just like, "Hey, man, we giving you these upgrades for free." You know what I'm saying?
And Microsoft been throwing shade too, and I like that. This is how you up your grade your game. You just go buy it.
Yeah, that was.
And then the Gears Tactics, Gears 5 will get free upgrades now across all systems and new content free of charge. Game Pass, PC, and Steam. And you can't that was the okie doke. That was the and I got the Spider-Man on PS4. I got the disc, and they telling me that I'm gonna have to. I can't since I brought this. I'm gonna have to go bad again.
Yeah, you gotta buy.
No. What you can actually play your PlayStation 4 disc on the PlayStation 5 with the boosted mode. However, if you want to make use of the haptic feedback, the SSD, all that stuff, plus animation and everything worked up from the ground up. They literally recreated the game from the ground up for the PlayStation 5. Then you need to purchase it.
Basically, you gotta buy the remaster if you want that. Otherwise, you're playing backwards compatible Spider-Man.
I'm not with that. Don't do. I know. Caraba, Sony is your people. I got a whole PlayStation over here. We just helped y'all sell 120 million PlayStation 4s. These y'all can do is give us some free upgrades, man. Come on now.
Yeah,
come on now.
It sucks.
And I hope this don't apply. I don't think this. I think hopefully this just a special occasion with Spider-Man, because you got third party out there kind of doing the same thing, giving you free upgrades and things like that. I hope this is just a special occasion with Spider-Man only, and that you don't have to deal with this with like The Last of Us or if they or Ghost of Tsushima or Horizon Zero Dawn. If
they might get you The Last of Us, because I'm hearing that The Last of Us multiplayer may go to PS5.
Yeah, but that makes
that you might have to buy that.
I
Of
just
course,
hope
it never came with a PlayStation 4 to begin with.
Bro, that should be added for free.
that should be added for.
That
Yeah,
definitely should be added for free. There is no reason why I should have to buy a multiplayer component to a game that was supposed to have a multiplayer component.
Yeah.
That's insane. Is Ghost of Tsushima's update going to be purchasable or is it free?
It's actually for I think it's free of charge.
Yeah, see? They give them to you for free. Free DLC. That's how it should be. I don't understand how you can give somebody. I already spent $60 on the game. Now you want me to spend like another $20 on DLC for multiplayer? This is a hustle, bro. It's a hustle. It's a hustle.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. So everything's sold out. Xbox is sold out. PlayStation is sold out. It's hard to find a console. I lost my Xbox reserve.
What?
Yeah, I had it
I
pre-ordered.
was just about to ask you, how was your pre-order?
I had my pre-order through Best Buy, and I got an email that they canceled the pre-order.
What?
Yep. So I lost that, and now everything is sold out, and I can't find a Series X nowhere.
What?
I already got the PlayStation. And the ironic thing is I have the PlayStation.
That's crazy.
The ironic part is I have a PlayStation, and it's the one that I don't want. I want the digital one. That makes it worse. It's the one that I don't want. I want the digital version, but I have the disc version, and I can't find a Series X anywhere. Very frustrating.
I went out with my guy. We had already planned that we was gonna go out to GameStop and get in line early. We was planning leaving out at 3 a.m. in the morning. I waited to the last minute to start erasing my PlayStation, and instead of reinstalling it to factory settings, my dumb ass did initialize PS4, which takes about 2 or 3 hours. I see, and I guess when you initialize it, it's rewriting zeros to the hard drive. That's why it takes so long.
Oh wow!
But anyway, so I'm on the Discord and I'm moving around the house, and my guy's sitting at the computer. And he watching my guys in the Discord keep posting pictures of GameStop and how many systems they have in. And I'm talking about low numbers. 1 of 2, 5 of 2, stuff like that. So he like, you know what? I'm finna leave now. I'm gonna meet you there. He like, I'm gonna meet you there. And so he get there and he called me. He like, we good. Ain't nobody here. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody here. We good. So he like, man, how much you got left? I say the PS4 got an hour left. He like, you good. You should be able to do that, finish up, and then get down here. Next thing you know, 5 minutes later, he called me. Hey, they only got 7 systems and there's 6 people out here already.
Oh wow,
bruh! I snatched everything about the wall and the TV, and I did 100. But when he got down there, it was somebody there. It was one person already, and that one person was sitting in the car, and he didn't know if my guy was there for GameStop. So my guy got up and opened his trunk. Dude flew out the car.
Oh wow!
And to be the first person in line, but I flew down there. I get down there in time. I'm the 7th person, right?
Wow.
My man had bread. He had lunch meat, chips, pops, everything out there for us already, so we ain't had to go nowhere. Oh, and it was a Subway down. Subway out here open 24/7, so we had a place to go. So we out there playing Uno, having fun. We had just met the guys. We out there having fun playing Uno. We're up the bam. About like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, this other guy pull up. Prior to that, we all like, man, we the 7 people. Ain't no more Series X's. Anybody pulling up, like, is either you getting the S or you leaving.
Right,
that's it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The police pulled up on us twice. We thought they was gonna be on some bull crap, but they was cool. Come to find out, one of the police officers in the truck, he was trying to get an X. He was trying to get an X too.
Slick.
Yeah, quick, slick. He was like, man, I do get off at 8 o'clock, but I don't know. And so the mall security pulled up on us, a little black guy. He was scared. He was scared because he stayed in the car.
Uh-huh.
And he pulled up whispering. I had to actually get up and go to the car. He talking about some what y'all out here for? Y'all walk around. I said we out here for the series X. So we go. He was like, could y'all you think y'all could reline up at 6 a.m. or something? Because y'all got people scared with all this that's going on down here. And I was like, God, who's scared?
Ain't nobody
the only people that out here. Ain't nobody out here, man.
Who out here at 3 a.m.?
We at 3 a.m. The police pulled up. They said we good. We could. But get up out of here. We good. You know what I'm saying? And so the guy pull up. He trying to get one for his girl's son. And we tell him it's only S left. He stay in line. He like, well, I just get the S. Because at that point, this store in Chicago was the only store where in the inner city that I know of that had the most. And it had 7 Series X's and 2 S's. One store only had 1 X and 1 S. One store had 5 Series X and 2 S's. So it was very low allocations across the city. I don't know what Microsoft would think. But to get to the end of the story, one of the guys that was out there, he stayed out there all the way up until 10 o'clock that morning and until when we got our tickets. And that's when everybody else started pulling up at the last minute. His guy in front of him, he gets shows the manager his ID, right? And his address. Because they was checking IDs to make sure people didn't have the same address. He goes to show his ID. He gets his ticket. The guy behind him shows his ID. You guys have the same address. You cannot get a system.
Wow.
Abby, he been out there since midnight with all of us. He said, we don't even live in the same household. He said, there's nothing I can do. The system won't allow me to put in duplicate addresses. Now, we thinking he on bullshit. Matter of fact, we know he on bullshit because we did we had somebody out at another store out in Homewood, Illinois, where 2 people with the same address were still able to get 2 systems. But he poured some shit talking about GameStop is cross-referencing names, email address, phone numbers, all of this information to see if people are buying 2 systems from the same household because it's supposed to be 1 system per person per household. I guess it's their way of trying to prevent scalpers, you know. And so he couldn't even get one, bro. And so one of the guys, the guy that came out at 4 a.m. that was only going to get an S, he was able to get the X. Dude was pissed, bro, and we felt really bad for him, bro. We felt really bad.
Yeah, I'd have been pissed off too.
Yeah, he stood out there all that time, bro, and dude wouldn't even let him. And then the bad part about it is he say, when we're gonna get some more systems, when they do, I'll call you back and take care of him. Well, if you could take care of him then, you can take care of him now.
Yeah.
You on ball crap, bro.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
People was pissed, bro.
That's funny though. My man was out there with sandwiches, like sandwiches.
Yo, man, my boy had sandwiches. They're making sandwiches. You know, had the mayonnaise and the mustard in the straight bottle.
Oh my god,
yo, man. And we was out there chilling, man. And it felt like, you know what it felt like? How it felt like the midnight launches for GameStop.
It felt like it was old school, right?
Back in the day when they had the Halo tournaments and stuff like that. Out there with people you don't know, but game and is bringing y'all together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Game times, man. Those are the good times. I tell people, I'm like, Microsoft needs to get back to that. They need to get back. Like when Halo launches, they need to have Times Square on smash.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they used to, like when Halo 3 came out, you had Chief on billboards, it was long lines, and they was handing out the first game to somebody. Like they got to get back to that, man. That excitement, that joy. And really put their games at the forefront. You know, the one thing I respect about PlayStation this past generation is that even if their games weren't all 90s or like mega hits, they treated them like they were. Spider-Man is on every billboard. Spider-Man had a whole train in New York City, bro. A whole train dedicated to Spider-Man. God of War was on a teleprompter at a basketball game. The big centerpiece at a basketball game, and they're showing commercials on that screen. Like, the amount of money and marketing Sony put into their content this past generation really showed. And it showed what Microsoft didn't do, because a lot of fans all generation, we clamored about why we didn't see enough marketing for particular games here and there. And when the marketing did hit, it was like a week before, a couple of days before. You can't do that. You just can't. So I don't know if Microsoft held off because of, they felt like they had a weak generation. The consoles wasn't selling the way they expected it to sell. Because back in the 360 days, the marketing was insane. Every game that they put out, they had crazy marketing, crazy commercials. You will find it everywhere. They relied too much, to me, on marketing through their console and marketing online.
Yeah, on social media. Yeah.
And just not marketing enough through bigger avenues to reach the casual market. And that is something that I think Sony did very well this generation. So I hope that they turn this around next generation, especially with this new hardware, which seems like that's what they've been doing, because we've been seeing a lot of commercials for the Xbox Series X. Even though they don't have any games right now to launch, we've been seeing a lot of push for the Xbox Series X across different mediums, as well as sort of just pushing the most powerful console. So I kind of give them props in that regard going into next generation. So hopefully we can see that with some of their games, and they're definitely going to need it now that they got Bethesda. You know what I'm saying? You got to market these titles. And I think, and just one final word on Bethesda before we head out of here. I think that what's going to happen when it comes to Microsoft on a case-by-case basis, I truly believe that Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Online will stay multi-platform. I don't think those games will not ever be exclusive. I do think Starfield, Elder Scrolls 6, and every game after Deathloop and Ghostwire will be exclusive.
Yeah.
Pass.
That's the goal. That's the goal. We need to get people into our ecosystem. We need to get people into Game Pass, right? And they seen the excitements in the numbers. I'm pretty sure 15 million subscribers.
Yeah,
and that's probably his golden up since that announcement. Not only with pre-orders, but Game Pass subscriptions probably have went through the window since that announcement. And the only way you keep that going is hey. And I see they took the PS5 logo off the Starfield website. Yeah, so that's the deal. You want to play our games? Come into our eco, whether that's through PC, Xbox, Game Pass, or Game Pass. Come into our ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean that's the goal. You don't spend $7.5 billion to put your content on other platforms and get people to buy consoles for that competition. You just don't do it. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to recoup. Listen, we all know they come out and said that Game Pass right now is like probably breaking even financially. You know what I'm saying? They need to get to like 50 million subs to be making like $7 billion a year. You know what I'm saying? And the only way to do that is to put exclusive content on there. You know what I'm saying? So, sharing your content with other platformers and just getting, maybe like 1.2 million for $70 is cool. A lot better if you can get people in there every year at $15 a month. That's going to add up tremendously per person. So that's why I just truly feel like it's, a lot of exclusive content is going to hit soon. You know what I'm saying? It really is, and it's going to be crazy. It's definitely going to be crazy next year. I'm so excited. I can't wait to get my hands on these games, bro. I'm hyped, bro. And Wasteland 3 was really good too. Like Wasteland 3, I was so impressed with Wasteland 3. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was. I'd never played an In Exile game before. Like I never played a Bard's Tale. Those games look trash to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not playing that. But Wasteland 3 was excellent. It was really good. So Looking forward to what NXL does with their first AAA title. I'm looking forward to Avowed. I know that Obsidian has another game that the head of Obsidian is working on himself. But did you see his comment today? His tweet? No? All right. Well, basically what happened is his he had a comment where I guess there was a article where they talked about Obsidian has unproven IPs. So it's going to be hard for people to kind of like get excited for their content. And he just put like this face up there like, are you serious? Like, come on, bro. Obsidian, you know who we are? Like, you know the type of content that we put out. How are we unproven? How is Avowed unproven when it's a part of the Pillars of Eternity universe? You know what I'm saying? So it's just funny to see that happen and to see his response to that. And that, you know, he's taking the media as a joke like most of us do. So it's just funny, man. But at the end of the day, I'm excited for everything that Microsoft has done. I love the direction they're going. And again, I had a tweet that I had posted. I want to pull it up real quick. Let me see if I can pull it up. Give me 1 second. Where's that screenshot at? Is this it? Nope, that's not it. Oh man. Nah, pictures. Screenshot. Let's see here. I had a
that I see Maz in the chat. Yeah, the Xbox has no games. I don't even hear it no more. I don't even hear it no more. Like the whole narrative has changed now.
That's how it is, bro.
Whole narrative has changed now.
Nope, that's not it.
Now you know what's crazy to me, Cal?
What's that?
When Sony made Street Fighter exclusive to PlayStation, there was no uproar. The ponies didn't beg Sony to keep it multi-plat. Same with Spider-Man. These two IPs have been multi-plat for generations. And Microsoft goes and buys Bethesda, and all of a sudden it's, please, Microsoft, keep these these games multi-plat. Nah, I just don't see it. Nah. In order to play Spider-Man or Street Fighter V, you need a PlayStation. And I'm seeing that in order to play Starfield or the next Elder Scrolls, you might just need Game Pass or Xbox or a PC. It ain't nothing wrong with that.
All right, so here's something I'm going to show you guys. Right, this is a conversation that me and Phil had a long time ago, and this is what I be talking about when I have conversations with Phil, and sometimes we get into these deep conversations. I know it sounds weird, but the conversation that we had was really crazy. It was very long. There's only a few things that's available that I'm going to show you guys. I don't want to show too much. Mm-hmm. But okay, so let me make sure I have that up. Okay. I can't even see that. It's all blurry on YouTube. All right. Anyway, so here's the thing. I stated for this is during what is this? This is after the interview with Matt Booty, and he's talking about like having games like where everybody was confusing AA games and AAA games, and he was talking about how buying all these studios and all the studios aren't going to be making AAA games and all that stuff like that, right?
2018.
Yeah, 2018. So I go, casuals don't care about this stuff, but the hardcore guys do, and word of mouth through social media is bigger now than ever. I think if you guys show a small roadmap, because they didn't have a roadmap at this time. some never before seen IP in your flagships that will quiet the noise you guys probably don't hear because the stats say otherwise from a business standpoint. But I'm down here with the community among the fans and the haters. I want to believe I have some idea of what fans want and what people are saying about Xbox. And even if just a small sample compared to the millions you see in the numbers, I said a balance of single player and games as a service is what guys want, and diversity like the 360 era in both multiplayer and Western RPGs. That's a big strength for Xbox. You guys should develop more Western RPGs. Everyone asks for KOTOR, Jade Empire, Mass Effect, Skyrim, Fallout. You guys do amazingly well with those franchises. Should invest more in that exclusively, in my opinion. That's your story-driven genre, but I'm going on too much. Thanks for your time, Phil. Have a great event. Stay safe. Peace. This is 2018.
Call it, Cal. Call it, Cal.
Team. Right? So Phil comes back because we're going back and forth. And he's like, what great single-player games did we have in 60? He's like, I'm all for doing great single-player games. I think we've actually done more this gen than last gen. I know quality is important, but I don't remember a lot of great single-player 360 games. And I was running first party then. And I think that we need to show content and momentum. I know that. I think our best single-player game from 360 generation was probably Alan Wake. I go, LOL, that's true. I think you guys have so many good third-party exclusives. Xbox 360 just felt like a hit, had hits, nothing but hits. He goes, but we didn't have a ton of them. This gen, we've had Rise, Sunset, Recall, Ori, Forza. That was all on 360 as well. Forza Horizon, Quantum Break. What third-party exclusive did we have? I'm not trying to argue. I just want to understand. Like, me and Phil be going at it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you guys had Mass Effect, Fable, BioShock, Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon. Skyrim ran best on 360. OG Xbox had KOTOR, Jade Empire, plus Halo and Gears was truly fresh franchises then as well. People complain about oversaturation, but it's not as bad as people make it out to be. Yo, and he goes, again, I know we need to invest more, and I'm all over that. 2 years later, bro, where we at? Where we at? I'm talking about.
Talk your shit, Cal.
So I'm talking about.
Talk your shit, Cal.
So anyway,
pop your collar, player. Pop your collar, player.
I'm just saying that I was over that, bro.
Yeah.
But when I see this is conversations coming to fruition.
You actually talk that into existence.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's crazy.
People don't believe.
That's crazy.
Listen, I'm telling you, son.
Get your flowers while you here, player.
Tell you, bro. I don't get the respect.
Get your flowers while you here, player.
That's what I'm saying.
They don't need me knowing, though. I feel you, Cal. They don't need me knowing. They don't need me knowing, player.
I be behind the scenes. Man. I be having full blown conversations with Phil about like crazy stuff and trying to put y'all. Like, remember when Delilah was on here and I was like, "Yo, I pitched this idea." Like, man, you pitch everything. I'd be like, I'm telling you, I be really pitching these ideas. Microsoft owe me some checks. And them things be coming to fruition, bro. It's crazy. But I'm excited that they made the moves they did, and it seems like Microsoft is now the Western RPG console. That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope.
That they run Western, that's gonna be that's I don't think people understand how big this is, the magnitude. And it's not gonna hit until probably a couple years later when people really understand the magnitude of this purchase and this acquisition. They pretty much run Western RPGs.
Right.
They run it. And it's crazy because they was the one who helped usher in Western RPGs, and now they control the scene.
Right.
Look how many crossovers everybody want to see Master Chief with Doom. Everybody want Obsidian to work with Bethesda on a Fallout New Vegas 2. You have so many things that could come to fruition from this. It's crazy. And another thing is that it bodes well in terms of how consistent they want to put out content with Game Pass. What they say, a big AAA title every quarter or every 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
They was talking about.
Yeah,
That's feasible now. That's doable now.
that is doable. Yeah,
That's doable now. And you're not finished. You say we finna go buy some more.
yeah. They
put the whole industry on notice.
The CEO of Microsoft came out and
Yeah.
said about to buy something. We didn't even get that confirmation from Phil. We got that from the head.
They put the whole industry on notice.
Yeah,
Either you get to them before we do, or we got them. That's crazy.
it's crazy.
And then I know we about to. What Phil say he was? He was running at that time. He was running first party, right?
Yeah, he was with first
Don't
party.
talk to me about Donnie D. What Donnie D did. Don't talk to me about. See, I know you gonna listen. Don't talk to me about what Donnie D did. Phil was bringing him those games. So when you say Phil ain't done, check yourself. That's my bro, but I gotta throw him under the bus. I gotta throw everybody else under the bus who say Donnie D was better. No, Phil was ahead of first party. He was bringing them down. He was bringing Donnie D them games, and Donnie D was signing off on them. So he was making Donnie D look good.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy, man. I don't know. It's definitely crazy, but I know right now, if you're an Xbox fan, it's a great time to be excited. They making moves, and the concave beef has awakened. It's time to ride this green wave, surf this green wave into next generation, man. We're all excited about that. I know Karaba's excited for PlayStation 5. I don't want to sleep on PS5.
I'm excited for PlayStation 2.
Yeah,
just because I know everybody finna be competing. Oh man.
And I'm hearing rumors of a Nintendo Pro, what is it?
Switch Pro. Yep.
Yeah, Switch Pro. That'll be interesting too. We'll see how that all works out. So listen, man, that's gonna be it for tonight's show. You know, we had a good show tonight. I appreciate everybody coming through. My man Post came through with the clutch save at the end.
Yes, sir. My father.
It's all good.
And getting everything situated. I kind of dozed off, but I woke up and I say no link. I say
shout out to Cam who came through and rocked with us for a bit. He's got a early, can't work at GameStop, so he got to get up early tomorrow. And
man, he finna
fives out.
He finna have it. He finna be busy all day, bro.
Telling people
pray for
they ain't got none on the phone.
We're gonna pray for that man.
I know. And I'm gonna be out here searching for the rest of the next couple of months for a Series X. See if I can get one on day one. But we'll see how it all pans out, man. Everybody is very excited for next generation, and I'm very excited to be back podcasting. I'm definitely gonna be working on some content, trying to obviously improve our show, make it a little bit more visual for you guys as well on a weekly basis. I just moved, so things are moving kind of slow right now, but once everything gets settled, I'll be able to rework some things out. So I just want to thank everybody for coming through and supporting us as always. I'm very grateful for that as well. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you like our content, you like our conversations tonight. Again, we talk about Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, mostly Xbox, but we try to be unbiased as much as possible. And really tell it how it is, man. There's not a lot of podcasts out there that's like that. Either some people sugarcoat it or some people just kill it too much, just beating a dead horse. And we try to find balance out there. So go ahead, hit that button if you're looking for that, and we appreciate it.
Hey Cal, if you're in the chat, man, throughout the day, because I'm gonna do it again. Send my man Cal some pre-order links to that Series X if y'all can, so he can get one again. You know what I'm saying? If you're in the chat, I'm gonna be looking out for him. Let's make sure he get one.
Yeah,
my tip for you, Kalel, if you can find a second PlayStation, get it and then trade it for an Xbox.
Yeah, somebody told me that trade the pre-order in for a Xbox. Yeah, I've had somebody that hit me up for that as well. Because I was willing to trade in my PlayStation pre-order for an Xbox, but I wound up getting.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I did that for DC. Well, I traded in my One X and my PS4 Pro to get my Series X. Only paid $120 after, because GameStop got that $200 deal with the One X and the PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
I traded them both in.
Amazon do trade-ins.
You actually get.
Yeah, if I traded my Xbox Series X, they give me $175 for it.
Ah, that's love.
So I was like thinking about doing that to pay off my PlayStation, but I really want to get my X first. I want to make sure I get my X before I do that.
I can still. Well, I got. Oh, you know what? Don't worry about it. We work out
Yeah,
some things over here.
they'll give you the credit before they receive the console.
Wow.
Yeah, because that's what happened before when I got something from them and I traded in something. So what they ask is, what's the condition of the console or the whatever it is you're trading in, and then they'll give you the credit, and then they'll give you a shipping label, and you got to ship it. If they get it and they deem it not, what happens is if they deem it not credible, you have a card on file. They'll charge you the credit that they gave you. So that's how you can't scam them.
Yeah, yeah, that's understandable. That's
So
understandable.
they're like, yo, you said us a broken Xbox. We gave you 150, and you spent it. So we're gonna take 150 back. Right. But if you everything works out and you trade it in, yeah, you get the 150 like the same day, bro. It's like crazy.
Yeah, that's what they said. They gotta protect themselves. They can't have people just sitting in busted systems.
Yeah.
And getting away. Yeah, people will be man.
I thought that was pretty cool of Amazon.
Yeah.
I like that trading
I
system.
didn't know that. I'll look into that. You just
But anyway, so that's gonna be it for tonight's show. You can catch us every Thursday between 10:30 and 10:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 7:30 and 7:45 p.m. Pacific. Again, Tick Podcast is the premier podcast for Xbox and gaming. Post, when's your next podcast?
You know what? I'm gonna go live tomorrow. Man. I know people. I kind of had a busy week with the kids and their virtual schooling. My wife, my girl, or my fiance, whatever, working from home. And then I had doctor's appointments this week. But tomorrow, I'm gonna go live and get my perspective on everything that's been going down. It's gonna be uncensored. It's gonna be uncut. I might want to pull up early because I'm going in my bag. I ain't holding no punches. They've been stumping us the whole generation. I'm getting payback.
We're about to be crazy. Xbox fans about to be crazy this generation. Oh my god. Karaba, what's your next podcast?
Next podcast is on Monday. It's going to be fun. Hey, question: with this whole storage and stuff like that, do I need one for my PlayStation 5 to be able to make use of the SSD, or is the SSD in the PlayStation 5?
No, it's only for the games that's for PlayStation 5. If you're playing games on PS4, you can still, according to Xbox, I don't know if it works for PlayStation, but I know with Xbox, if you're playing games for the original PS4, right, PS4 to Xbox One, you can still use your mechanical drive, your HDD drives, right?
Also, just storage, not you don't need to be able to play a game. Like for
only
example,
the next generation games need the SSDs.
Yeah, only the next generation.
Next generation games.
But the SSD is already in the system, right?
Well, if you want extra storage and you want to be able to run those next generation games off your external storage, then you'll need an external SSD. But with the PS5, I say chill and wait, Karaba, because Sony hasn't came out and listed any compatible SSDs.
Yeah, I'm not going to buy anything like that.
Yeah, I just wait for now and see what they say, because I know they say they're working with manufacturers and they're testing to see which SSDs will be compatible with the system. So once they start, give you that, then you'll kind of get an idea how you want to approach that. But yeah, the SSDs is just to strictly play next gen games off of. So
now,
say
that if you put a old generation game on an SSD, it will take advantage of the game. So like if you put Gears 5 on an SSD, you'll get those speeds. Like everything will load faster. The game will run faster, stuff like that. Yeah. So that's really interesting in itself.
I don't need that external drive right now. I want
to
see
how that damn thing.
File size. I didn't have a lot of games installed on my system anyway. I got a gigabit down, unlimited. I don't have a data cap since I got Comcast gigabit down. I don't have a data cap, so I don't care about delete and download the game.
Yeah, I don't have a data cap either. It's funny though, but I'm like a hoarder. Like I download games and they just sit on my drive. Like I don't even play them. I just like I have a bunch of pins of games that I just like to look at. Like just the images of pin up there. I don't even play them. I just look at this. And then if something new comes out, I rotate it in and take something that I don't want to play out and still never play that game. It just
evaluate your list of games.
it just sits there like a collage on my screen. It's like, bro, I've had what's that thing called? I had Lord of the Rings, the war one. The last one that they just came out. I've had that thing in my pins for like months and never played the game. It's just sitting there.
It'd be too many games.
Pointless. Yes, games. Yeah, I got too many games. Game Pass hasn't helped. That's the problem. Every time something new comes out for Game Pass that looks interesting, I download it, and then if I don't play it, just sits there.
This Bethesda
It's crazy.
It ain't getting no better.
It's just gonna get worse. It really is.
Yep.
Anyway, all right, guys. So listen, man. I want to thank everybody once again for coming through. Hey, check us next week, Thursday, 10:30 p.m. Catch it between 10:30 and 10:45 is when we kind of start. And you can catch us on the YouTube channel as well as watch us on Twitch, on Twitter and things like that. So we really appreciate the support as always. If this is your first time with the show, you like the show, hit that subscribe button. We truly appreciate all the subscribes and supports that we can get. And we'll see you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Keep a mask on your face and vote. Go out there and vote. Vote right. All right. You guys take it easy. Peace. We're off this planet.
Later.
Yes, sir.